Hello, and welcome to another edition of Rail Rangers on the Road. The Midwest Rail Rangers, our 501c3 nonprofit organization, presents onboard educational programs across the Midwest. You may have caught us on the South Shoreline between Chicago and South Bend, Indiana, aboard the Sky Parlor car at the Wisconsin Great Northern, on an Amtrak charter organized by the 20th Century Railroad Club of Chicago, on private rail excursions featuring heritage equipment, and at various outreach events such as Train Fest and Mad City Rail. In March of 2020, the coronavirus sidelined most of our programs. After taking a few months off, we returned with virtual programs, taking you to exciting rail destinations across Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, and Wisconsin. With 2021 now here, we hope to begin the transition back to doing in-person programs. During the months ahead, though, we will continue to bring you new virtual programs as well. So sit back and relax and enjoy another edition of Rail Rangers on the Road. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another Rail Rangers virtual program. It is Labor Day, September the 5th, 2021, and hope you're enjoying another one of our virtual programs that we've been doing for, well, the last year and a half now. We're with the nonprofit Midwest Rail Rangers. We normally narrate on private rail excursions, South Shore and whatnot. Started a year ago, June, doing these virtual programs, taking you to interesting places all over the Midwest. And we are live tonight, just after about 7:03 right now, according to my watch. We are in Ottumwa, Iowa. This is our fourth program in a row in the state of Iowa. If you look at an old-time map of Iowa, there's a lot of rail lines that would crisscross across Iowa. Iowans back in the 1900s had a saying that really you can't go more than 12 miles in any direction, given any point in the state, without running into a branch line of some sort. So I guess it's just fitting that we've done, this is our fourth visit to Iowa in the last 2 months. Of course, we did our two-part series back in August, where we visited Ron and Ed over in Mount Pleasant. We did a two-part visit for you at the end of July, beginning of August, and then 2 weeks ago we were at the Boone Scenic Railroad. We had a really fun trip on the Boone Scenic Railroad, and so now this is our fourth Pete and our last trip to Iowa for now. We are in Ottumwa, Iowa. Only fitting because, yes, Ottumwa, Iowa. 7:05 in the evening here on this beautiful Sunday evening. Glad you could be with us. And yes, we're back out here in Iowa. We did the last September. We did a tour of the depot with Ron in Mount Pleasant, and that's just a stop about 40 miles or so to the east of us. So we are 40 miles to the west of Mount Pleasant, right about the center of the state, maybe a little to the east. But we thought we would take you on another depot tour since the one with Ron went so well. And we had a couple people email us from the 20th Century Railroad Club of Chicago. Thank you for joining us tonight, as well as all of our friends on trainweb.com, especially our friends out there who are joining us. And said, let's do another Iowa Depot tour. And so we thought we would take you to the town of Ottumwa. We're going to do a little shorter program tonight. We'll probably keep it to about 20, 25, 30 minutes, because we know it is Labor Day, and a lot of people are out on the lakes and enjoying a beautiful Labor Day. We are excited to be here in Ottumwa, Iowa on Labor Day. So let's take a look out. First, of course, this is the route of the California Zephyr, the Amtrak line that stretches currently from San Francisco Bay Area Train starts in Ottumwa, Iowa, and goes to Chicago's Union Station. So here are the tracks. Unfortunately, number 5 has already been through here tonight. We were hoping maybe that's the westbound Zephyr. It stopped here about 20 minutes ago or so. So we just missed the westbound California Zephyr coming through tonight. But that's okay. We were hoping it'd be late, but it wasn't. It was pretty much right on time and has headed on through. All the passengers are gone. But this is kind of cool. You can see the, which of course at one time when there were a lot more trains through here, would have been covered platforms here. And of course, since in the meantime the roofs have been either blown down or fell down, and obviously have not been repaired. Obviously, the money's not. I presume the money's not there to have covered platforms. We do want to mention that the original depot was built here in 1889 by the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. And that depot was torn down in 1950, and the current depot was built over the winter of 1950 and rededicated in May of 1951. So when there were a lot more trains through here than currently, there's just a westbound Amtrak and an eastbound Amtrak. Maybe not enough money to pay to put a roof on here. But one of the things I want to point out is kind of cool is you can see, even though they're kind of rusted, you can see some of the original numbers. And these numbers are kind of in the original Burlington font. There's number 5. And you can see the original numberings that are still there. And what they would do is, because the trains would be so long, as you can see the length of the platform here, and Amtraks are still pretty long, but when some of the big Burlington trains would come through here, they would tell people, okay, if you're on the coach to Chicago or you're on the coach to Denver, go wait by number 5, and then there's number 4, 3, 6, and 7. So some places have that, currently have that on Amtrak, but I just love the old, the old Burlington font that are still here. You can still see the number 5. It's just one of those things that kind of stick out to us rail historians. So there is 2 tracks here currently. You can see. Mostly Amtrak tries to use the first one here, but there's also a second track as well. As we learned, this is pretty much double track all the way from Chicago out to Galesburg to Burlington, all the way as far as Creston, which is in western Iowa, which is probably about another 90 miles or so from here. So it is double track till you get just outside of the Omaha area. And as you can see, this is pretty amazing, the size of the station here, as it kind of comes into perspective. You can just see at one time, imagine the 1950s and 1960s, the CB&Q and all the offices that were here at one time, that this was a division point for the railroad, and you think of all the people who must have worked here. I don't have the exact number, but my gosh, you probably had several dozen office workers and road foremen and superintendent. That Ottumwa was such a big place back in the day that we would have had all these workers who worked up here. From 1988 until 2020, obviously, when they stopped their passenger service, they didn't need all this office space and all these office workers. So it went through a variety of hands from 1988 until last year, 2020. This building and the upstairs and other adjacent buildings house the Wapello County Historical Museum. They've since moved out to a different location last year, but up until last year in 2020, this was a historical museum in some of the buildings. So let's take a look inside. Head inside. There's some cool railroad exhibits and whatnot. Of course, we want to be safe, so we're gonna go ahead and put our mask on here. And let's take a look at the lobby hours real quick here before we enter the station. So if you're curious and you wanna visit the depot, They are open really for train times. So 8:30 to 4:15, and then they open again in the evening till about 7 o'clock. Because we mentioned that County Historical Museum, which was here until last year, is no longer here. They're closed permanently at that location. Um, so we'll head on in here and we'll take a look. They have some pretty cool railroad exhibits here. And we'll take a look at some of these. This here is a very nice exhibit that they have here. This is Agency City Depot. Agency is a town not more than 10 or 20 miles from here and along the railroad line. So there's a look at a CB&Q depot from 1901. This is pretty cool. Spanish-American troops leaving in 1898 from the depot occupied by the Milwaukee, Wabash, and Iowa Central Railroad. There was another depot here in town located at the foot of South Jefferson Street. So up here is the Clifland Railroad Station, which was located between Ottumwa and Agency. Again, not more than 10 or 20 miles from here near Garrison Rock. And it looks like they were building a trestle of some sort there in the 1900s. And there's a history of doodle bugs. To reduce expenses, the railroad motor cars with gasoline electric propulsion used three-man crews were used for short-haul passenger service on branch lines after World War I. These were called doodle bugs. The doodle bug became a hog and human when it stopped to pick up livestock, also to be transported to market. And of course, Milwaukee Road came through here as well. And there is a locomotive engineer seat there. So they have different exhibits. They talk about railroad time here. And I think we mentioned that on one of our other previous programs. There were 80 different time zones in the United States, and railroads were fundamental in creating the time zones. So here this is kind of cool, the Ottumwa Coal Palace, and we can let our camera lady get in there. 10 counties participated in celebrating the success of industry and agriculture in the southern part of the state. We're talking 1890 to 1891. As each of the 10 counties had their own booth in the exhibit hall, they had their own special day of recognition. So this was actually, you can kind of zoom out a little bit and get a look at this. The structure was constructed of wood and paper mache, and of course it was the facade coal. 230 feet long, 130 feet wide, 200 feet tall, and cost about $30,000 to construct back in 1890, which was about $814,000 by 2021 standards here. It was located downtown here, 226 West Main Street, north and west of the railroad station. There were some sunken gardens. The Coal Palace was built to architecturally blend with the Union Depot on the track side. Notice how the Coal Palace Tower and the Railroad Depot Tower resemble each other, and how the Coal Palace complements the Union Depot. So this is actually a real place to highlight the importance of coal. And they have a nice exhibit, beautiful exhibit here. Take a look at that. And you can see all the different communities, Wapello and Keokuk and Davis. Well, here's the general waiting area over here. Plenty of room for people to enjoy and sit and wait for the two trains that come through here. And there's some T-shirts that are sold through here. And any idea why, Candace, do you know why there'd be a MASH T-shirt here?
I do not. You
have no idea? Why MASH? Ottumwa? Were you not a MASH fan?
I was, but I don't remember.
Radar O'Reilly from MASH was from Ottumwa.
Very cool.
It was based on a local gentleman by the name of Don Schaefer, and he was the inspiration for the character. And we talked about the Coal Palace, and how about this, the City of Bridges? Do you know why it's called the City of Bridges?
Because there's lots of bridges?
Well, I would say a lot, but the Des Moines River flows through the town, and there's 3 bridges over the Des Moines River here in town, and it got the nickname the City of Bridges. So I want to show you one more thing here. This is pretty cool. Some of the old photos they have here in this beautiful station. And of course, this would have been the ticket counter, and it was staffed with an Amtrak agent until June of 2018. But now they kind of covered it up. This is the old ticket masters. But here's a picture of the station. Again, built in 1950, dedicated in May of 1951. And it has a map here trying to show you the different routes that you would take. Start out in Chicago. And you can see there's Aurora. And then we head out west through Buda, Galesburg, and then the current route here, and then Burlington, Mount Pleasant, and here we are in Ottumwa. And you can see the different rail lines that intersected. There were several different railroad lines that intersected. And then from here we head out west through Creston, which we mentioned, the end of the double track. And then we would cross the river and go to Omaha. And then each of these follows the route. So that's Chicago to Omaha. This is Omaha out to Ogden, Utah. So, which is a little bit different. The Empire, or the California Zephyr, diverts and it goes kind of further south. This is the Burlington route, which went through southern Wyoming, Great Salt Lake. And then from there it took a different route through Nevada, and into California, and then coming into Sacramento and finally the San Francisco Bay Area. So they have a nice old map. And you can see, I would think that might be the original depot here. That was again built in 1889. They have a look at an all-time train ticket here. And you can see some of those stops to the CB&Q for the different routes. If you look at the first part, that's the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy route between Chicago and Minneapolis. That ran along the
We're approaching
Illinois, Wisconsin
the Bass
side
Point
to the
Creek
Mississippi
Bridge.
River, Chicago, Aurora, Butte, Winona, St. Paul. So this ticket could be used on either trains that went to Minneapolis or the trains that came through here and ended up on the Denver route through Galesburg, of course, Ottumwa, Omaha, and Denver. You're going to keep holding it? Mm-hmm. And there's a steam engine. We're going to go and see this steam engine here in just a minute, the 3001. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. I'm going to save the info for that because we're going to walk out and see that. And of course, the Way of the Zephyrs. Some beautiful shots here. And this is my favorite here. This is the, I believe, the Pioneer Zephyr. And that would have ran from Chicago to Denver. And if you have never seen the movie, the original movie called The Silver Streak, made in 1934, it was about the Pioneer Zephyr. And for you folks, especially you folks of the 20th Century Railroad Club who are watching us tonight, that is the Pioneer Zephyr. That is on display at Chicago's Museum of Science and Industry right now. They have 3 of the 4 cars. And there is a picture of it parked here, as you can see. These were the train shelters that we walked under and we started our program today that are out there. Unfortunately, now they're not covered. And here's the normal times for the California Zephyr. The eastbound at 9:09 a.m. and westbound at 6:53. So we just missed the westbound. So we're going to come back out and we're going to take a look at the steam engine. And now it's safe to take our mask off so you can better understand me there. And there's Candace, so she say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi to everybody. And you want to walk them over to the steam engine?
Sure. Let's go this way.
You want to go that way around?
I think it's a little bit.
Okay. Oh, okay. We mentioned some of the businesses are where the Railroad Museum used to be in the County Historical Museum. It's actually for sale. As you can kind of see, there's the Railroad Clubhouse.
So if any of you guys need a clubhouse to play in,
like the 20th Century Railroad Club.
There you go.
Come on, Joe. Oh, Joe's watching tonight. Yeah, there's Railroad clubhouse for sale and buildings for sale. So,
Or lease.
or lease. We've learned so much today. Radar O'Reilly from MASH. I posted, we were coming through here, and people posted on Facebook, oh, you're going to, that's Radar O'Reilly's hometown. I think that everybody knows Ottumwa from that, I guess. I don't know. Well, there's the other side of the station here, and we're gonna pan over here just before we go over to the steam engine, just kind of show you what the downtown looks like this evening. Give you a view of the downtown area of Ottumwa. I got a nice little fountain over here. And this was the site of the County Historical Museum until last year. So they had different exhibits about different war heroes and whatnot. So anyway.
All right, let's take them to what they want to see.
What are they?
Stop stalling.
Yeah. Save the best for last.
All right, there she is.
Okay. Do you want to tell people about the steam engine?
I'll let you tell them.
Yeah? Alright. So I'll tell you a little bit more about this as Candace kind of shows you the front of the engine. I'll tell you a little bit more about the history of this while we kind of take a look around here. This locomotive was presented to the city of Ottumwa by the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad on the 100th anniversary of the arrival of the first train into Ottumwa over the tracks of the Burlington and Missouri Railroad, of course later known as part of the Burlington system. It was built by the Baldwin Locomotive Company in 1930, and 10 years later was equipped with roller bearings on all axles and valve motion, and received light rods, and at the time making it one of the most modern steam locomotives, so it looks kind of old, I know, this evening. Total length of the locomotive in the tender is 94 feet. It weighs 235 tons, and the tender carries 27 tons of coal and 15,000 gallons of water. This locomotive, for years, pulled first-class passenger trains through Ottumwa, and its 3,000 horsepower enabled it to speed in excess of 100 miles an hour. Ottumwa thus displayed the steam locomotive here. And we'll do kind of Candace will do a little bit of a walk and talk. Again, 3001, built by Baldwin in 1930. It was one of 12 Class S4. And this is Candace's favorite game, and we'll see if she can get this right. Candace, and just to show you the wheels, like, you know, sometimes you got to put things in perspective. I'm 5'10", and I still do not even come close to the top of the wheel. So the wheels have to be at least 6 to 7 feet tall, I would say, because I'm 5'10", like I said, and not even somewhere between 6 and 7 feet. And my mouth and neck barely just come up to the part here. So, pretty cool. But Candace, this is her favorite game. She loves guessing what type of locomotive is it. Of course, you do the front wheels, the main wheels, and then the back wheels here. So, what type of locomotive are you guessing this is? I have the answer right here.
I'm going to say a 4.
Correct. Wait, one at a time.
A 4.
A 4, correct. A 4.
6.
6, correct.
4.
4, yes. This is a 464 type locomotive. Candace loves guessing this, and this is the different types of wheels of this. So very cool. Again, this was donated in 1959. You're taking a live look, donated, and we actually have 3 or 4 old photos that we can put up right now, and we can show you what this locomotive looked like in so back at our control studios in Wisconsin. If they would go ahead and throw up some of those old photos for us right now over the screen, we can kind of show you what some of this locomotive looked like back in the time. So hopefully you're taking a live look at that. And so there's the cab, as you can kind of see up in there, and one of the original plates. And we'll continue walking around here and go around and show you the other side real quick. Of course, the beautiful Burlington Route logo that many people are familiar with. Very good job of guessing that 464. Just be careful here. We walk around to the other side. Very nice September evening here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, very lovely.
Always love this time of the year. We'll walk around and show you the other side before we wrap up. I'm gonna make it more difficult. I gotta have like maybe we'll do like a 0, 15, 0.
Do they even exist?
No, because you can't have 15 because you have like one wheel missing. You can see this is probably where the engineer would have climbed up here, but they put it, won't let you up in the cab anymore, but they used to have, please do not climb on the train. Yeah. Very beautiful. And one thing I noticed is the Timken name, which is was very popular, the name of the bearings there on the Mark Twain Zephyr, which we've been restoring all year at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. You'll notice Timken as being one of the bearings there. And again, just the size of this. I mean, I wish I could see this in motion. Again, the size of the wheels. Candace is even shorter, so why doesn't she get up against the wheels? It'll be even cooler.
So I am 5'5". So.
And you can see the top. So what would you say? At least 7 feet, right?
Does the top of with my hand out?
Just barely.
Just barely.
So about 7 feet, I would guess. So, I told you we would be saving the best for best for last. Very cool. Well, that would have been cool to see that run.
Yes, it would.
So, well, we hope you enjoyed our program. It's just a minute or two before 7:30, and so thanks for joining us. We are going to wrap it up. I know a lot of people have a bunch of Labor Day plans, so we hope you have a good Labor Day tomorrow. We hope you enjoyed our brief tour of Ottumwa. And if you're interested in seeing this, the train line that goes through Ottumwa is the California Zephyr. And you know, if you're looking for an easy day trip out of Chicago, or a weekend trip, you can ride the California Zephyr, leave Chicago 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon. Gets out here about 7 o'clock, so you can do a 5-hour train ride if you want to the area here. And you can easily overnight at one of the local hotels, and then you can get back on the train at 9 o'clock or so in the morning and ride back to Chicago. So if you're looking for a fun destination, that's not a really long train ride, but Ottumwa is a good destination. There's several hotels that are not very far away that you can come to the community here, and you can actually have dinner on the diner if you get in at the 5 o'clock or 5:30 dinner. So you leave Chicago at 2 o'clock, go have dinner in the dining car, get off here about 6:56 and 7 o'clock, and spend overnight, and get back on the train and have lunch and come into Chicago. So just another idea of a fun train destination. And we want to mention that this the station is on staff since 2018. However, what's one other fact about Ottumwa is this is a crew change point for Amtrak trains. So the conductor, the engineer gets off here in Ottumwa and will spend the night, and the conductors will get off and spend the night in Ottumwa. Now, a lot of people think that the conductors would go all the way to Omaha, but first, the engineers can only work by themselves up in the cab for 6 hours, so they would definitely not make it to Omaha. and the conductors, it would sometimes be pretty close. Normally they can do the run in that time, but so that is a crew change point. So the crews from Chicago will get off and actually spend the night here in Ottumwa, and then they'll go back usually on the next day's train when there's 7-day-a-week service on this line. So crew change point it's still, even though it's not a division point anymore for the railroad, it is a crew change point for the engineers and the conductors on Amtrak's California Zephyr. And then from here, the crews will get on and work west to Omaha. So, hope everybody has a great Labor Day tomorrow. Mark your calendars. Our next program, well, that will be in just 2 weeks. We'll be back. Mark your calendar, 7 p.m. on Sunday, September the 19th, 2021. And we have another station tour for you that is planned. 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to the former Chicago and Northwestern Depot. That's now a Metro Depot. But we're going to be getting a special tour. We have special guests from Lake Forest, Illinois. It's now on the Chicago to Metro commuter line. So our next tour, 2 weeks from tonight, September the 19th, 2021, 7 o'clock, same time, same rail channel. Tour of the Lake Forest, Chicago Northwestern Depot. So until then, have a great Labor Day tomorrow, great Labor Day weekend, and we will be back with you September the 19th for our tour of the Lake Forest Depot. So from Ottumwa, Iowa, behalf of the Midwest Rail Rangers, Candace behind the camera, our board of directors, and especially our friends watching us with the 20th Century Railroad Club and trainweb.com, I'm Robert Tabor. Have a great Labor Day, and come visit Ottumwa. It's a great place.